Namaste. Okay, great. So I did a long smile there, probably came out because it takes a while for me to see if I'm live. And so I just kept holding the catacorn energy and welcoming you. Akasha here. Namaste. Happy new full moon and happy eclipse. Woo! So what we're going to dive into today in the spiritual weather report is to really look at where we are. We're between eclipses. We've been walking from the last eclipse. If you're like my clients or I, you've been going through a lot of really interesting experiences. So something's probably intensified in your life. Something's changed. If not yet, don't worry. Something somewhere is changing, and these things unfold for weeks, if not months. And we've been then between the eclipses, which is like, to me, it's like a wormhole. It's like we're walking through a very different kind of reality between the eclipses. And as you're traversing that energy, you are in very deep communion with your inner self, with your higher self, with your purpose, with your soul. And as such, this is an opportunity to get deep, deep work done because the change is coming regardless. So if we go, the change is here, the change is coming, I'm going to be present. I'm ready to step on the path of my higher self, and my higher self, it knows how to connect with my ancient and future powers. And I'm ready to talk to my spirit guides, and I'm ready to open my third eye, and I'm ready to trust myself, and I'm ready to live my life in flow and adventure the way that I love. And these are all actual examples of clients I've worked with this week. So that idea of the awakening that you're in, whether your focus is I want to open my third eye, which really means all of your senses, by the way, because you're all seeing eye in your head, in your brain, right in the center there. When that gets activated in the glands and the physicality of your body, and then in the energetics of the body through not just the hormones from the pineal, but the emanations, the glow, then you have an antenna that goes up. So we're in a very strong breakdown because we're in a metamorphosis. This entire decade is like a cocoon. And within that cocoon of taking us from who we were when this decade started and who we will be by the end of the decade is going to be such a massive transformation in such a short amount of time that those of us that are walking through this as consciously as possible, conscious of being conscious about our transformation, we have the opportunity of watching how things unfold. So you never know where or how it's unfolding for you. I've had some really big, intense experiences for my eclipse. I got a double abscess under my tooth. I was in excruciating pain for an entire week, and had some dental surgery and so on and so forth. So the things that are important is what it meant for me, what came up. It isn't about judging, what to do or anything else. It's what's the communication for me right now. Well, in an eclipse, things are eclipsed, things are cut off, things are dark, things are behind the veil. And the first eclipse, the moon eclipsed the sun, and that's our emotions eclipsing, cutting us off from our self. Our self is our infinite self. It's our soul self, the soul blueprint. It's also our ego self. So it could be any aspect of that. And it also is the stream of pure gold, God ray light that comes through to bring life force through the sun to everything. And so when you were eclipsed from that, your emotions might have overwhelmed you, or they might still be. And we were in a new moon, which is dark too. So there was this sense of going very, 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 very deep. So this was deep under my root. Nobody knows how long it was there. It was uber painful. It was uber infected. It talked to me a lot. It pulled me right out of my reality and said, no, you're not doing anything else right now. You're being right here, fully present. And you lose focus when you're in survival like that. And then I got to explore the aspects of it, the stories, the beliefs, the fears of the past, the other lives, and the other things that it was showing me are infecting the root or the foundation of my life and my jaw. So you need to understand the symbolism. You need to look deeper. It's not just what's the symbolism of teeth or an abscess or an infection or jaw and or these chakras or so on and so on. There's all these different ways to interpret something that's happening. Another beautiful day is right. So we're in this amazing metamorphosis, and we're inside of another cocoon inside of that, and we're going to be beginning to be squeezed out of the other portal tonight, tomorrow, depending where you live, over the next day or so. And what we're going to see is our results, whether you've seen something or not. What's interesting for me is this wasn't supposed to be really that big of a deal astrologically for me, eclipse wise. However, my partner had that eclipse was at a critical degree, and he had that critical degree at the same sign and all this other stuff. So he was, quote unquote, going to get a really strong impact from that eclipse. Well, I got it. And so I learned something new. I asked my astrologer, what in the world is going on here? He was the one that was supposed to, and he just sailed through. And she said, oh, don't you know that when you live with somebody, the energy comes into the house, whether it's his or it's yours, and then it goes to the person who needs it the most. So that was his critical degree energy going to you. So there's a little tip about starting to decipher and increase your intuitive gifts to understand what is yours and what is someone else's. Okay? All right, so let's go dive in and take a look at what's happening. Nope, not that one. This one, thank you. And so obviously we have a lot of energies going on right now, and we're in between the energies. So if you're like my students, my clients, or you've been given opportunity after opportunity to walk through the shadow world, walk through and review, or have old fears or pains, or find the depths of something that you thought had been completed. And so you want to honor your path. Okay, so this is the spiritual weather report. I do this every week. Occasionally I miss a week, but pretty much every week. And it's for your benefit to look at the energies and understand what you're walking through, right now. Now I'm expanding these that I've been talking about the eclipse for a while now, so you could prepare. And we talk about other things as they're approaching. So we're going to talk about something today that's approaching us, and you feel things on approach. You don't feel them as much as the peak, and then depending what it is, on approach is stronger than as you leave peak, but you always feel things about 3 days, and it could be 3 total days with the peak in the middle, out to 3 days in either direction. Now, the effects of an eclipse reverberate for a long time because they always mean some kind of change. It just depends on your chart, how and where it's going to show up in your life and what the message is. So I have the third eye openings. I've been doing a lot of these, and they're just absolutely fascinating. They blow my mind. Everybody's unfolds differently. It is an awakening of your intuitive senses done one-on-one privately, so it is completely brought through everything from the healing chamber to the guides that come, to the healings that happen, to the light body activations, to the past lives that show up, to the things that are pulled out of your chakras, to the new networks of intuitive networks that looked a lot like veins. Looked like when you can see the veins all through something, that network effect. And this was downloaded from a ray of creation through another life. Oh my goodness. Here we go. Sorry about that. This was over here. I need to check this everything okay? And so it was so profound to see how the energies approached her, how they prepared her. I'm a channel and I hold the space. I travel through into the energies, and I work with all the dimensions, elementals, guides, goddesses, whatever energies, different lives. And so whatever is needed to see your blocks, to see what's opening and awakening, what's happening right now in your energy field, what's the best way for you to connect to your higher senses. And your third eye is really the command center of your crown and third or sixth and seventh chakras, and all the glands in the brain that make up the all-seeing eye in the brain, and a lot of other parts of you. So this is an awakening of your senses and your ability to see through time and space and start to reconnect the parts of you that have other skills. So the cool part is that in a lot of these, what we're seeing is the ability to see or connect to a life that had a power that is ready to awaken within you, and that it's easier to reconnect to that life that already mastered this and free that life of its fears and bondage in whatever form. And that is usually related to the fear that you're currently experiencing. So this was a beautiful child who never lost their intuitive gifts and got absorbed by the Lord of the land to be an advisor, and so lived a very lovely life, being a pure, complete and pure channel for the silver ray, the blue ray, and a lot of elfin and nature spirit energies. And then something happened. So when we finished, it turned out that that same kind of thing had happened twice, and that this life was repeating those patterns. This is what always shows up, but I didn't know. And that the freeing and healing of the multidimensional, the two parts of her, now has them, all the chakras were cleansed and realigned, and she was downloaded with this new network and infused with the silver ray, and a whole thing that she can replay every day that is going to keep clearing, cleansing, reconnecting her until it becomes natural. So she's already in the process of a heightened awareness. And these were, Spirit told me, Jaguar told me to do these when I got back from the retreat. And they've now told me to extend them through May 15th. So you can use it after May 15th, but if you would like to buy one, I highly recommend it. And you can use it anytime in the next few months. And also talk to me if you want to come to one of our retreats, because if you want to open your third eye, if you want to walk through eclipses, if you want to have a higher level of self-trust, if you want to release from your cells to your aura and get recalibrated while kissing, hugging, and meditating with dolphins, going to Mayan ceremonies and sacred sites, and having intuitive activations every day, then you want to come and play with me. So be sure you check that out too. And then starting on Sunday, I have a new series for a week. I'm bringing in some really fun guests, and I'm going to share with you on Sunday a beautiful celebration. We're going to do all kinds of interesting readings, because the idea is that who am I becoming? Because a long time ago, a Zen mentor of mine told me to ask myself every day, multiple times a day, who am I? And ask the tree, who am I? And ask the dog, who am I? And ask the sun, who am I? And I was learning that everything was alive and everything was conscious. And so it was a beautiful way for me to start to realize I could communicate with other life force, other sentient conscious beings, which is everything. And not only just wow, look what I can do, but that they each held a different perspective or a wisdom of who I was. And sometimes it was where I was from or what kind of light I held. And it was answers that came from all different levels, different ways that you could. So what we're going to do is explore who are you becoming now, because we're all evolving very, very fast. And if you're waking up or things are falling apart, or if you feel uncomfortable and uneasy or ready to end something, or if you cannot take it anymore, realizing who you were, created the lifestyle that you're living, and now it's not working for you at all, or the job or relationships or whatever, your lifestyle, anything, right? You're waking up. You need to listen to the new you, the future you. You can talk to that you. So we're going to address all these different aspects of what's happening right now. What are symptoms of waking up? What are symptoms of light body sickness or ascension sickness? Who are you designed to be? You know, how can you now use these upgraded energies and high-speed internet that we have downloading, and these upgraded solar flares that are filled with information and codes and nourishing energies and power to do things we've never done before, that you don't even know, you can't even imagine who you're becoming. Okay, so join me. It's going to be for a week starting on Sunday, and Sunday we're going to have a big kickoff. And if you're on my list at nanakasha.com, you're going to get information about it. And if you're not, then go to nanakasha.com and join the party. Okay, so let's dive into our full moon lunar eclipse. So I rarely sleep during the full moon, and it started last night. And I can track the moon through my bedroom and my bathroom windows. I have huge windows in my bathroom, way up high, and a very high ceiling. And so I go in and I see it move across the sky at night, and then I see this out the side windows in my bedroom, or on my balcony, or in my closet, and my shower has a window too facing that way. And so I watch it, and it looks so perfectly full already last night. And I bathe in it. I receive the energies. I do a heart-to-heart weave with it. I love Luna. To me, it's a divine, sacred, feminine energy. It's the rabbit in the moon, like the Mayans say. It's the Mayan goddess. And this is an energy that we all are tied to every single day. Where's the moon? What's the moon doing? So let's look at the cosmic keys to consciously co-creating this week and next eclipse and full moon. So be sure you get on the newsletter at nanakasha.com, because I sent this out on Monday. And that helps you start the week. I'm going to be sending you the keys on Monday. And then we're going to, if yesterday was the full moon, then we would have done this call yesterday, but typically I do it on Thursdays. It's a power-packed week, as you know. So we're going to dive into what these are, because within you, your perceived reality, your identity, our identities are melting. Remember what happens in a metamorphosis. The caterpillar goes in there rocking, knowing how to be a caterpillar, and melts and loses all form and all shape, doesn't know who it is, doesn't recognize itself anymore, and then reforms into a butterfly. Nothing is added, nothing is taken out, nothing is assisting it. It's doing all of this because within it, it has the codes, it has the imaginal cell, it has the DNA, it has the blueprint, no different than a seed or a nut that knows to grow into the appropriate plant or tree. The egg in a womb of a jaguar is not going to grow into a wolf. Okay? And so you have that too. All right. And so within you, your identity is changing, and it has to fall apart. You have to not recognize yourself anymore. So I started seeing these annoying things where the computer doesn't recognize who you are, and you have to keep re-putting in a password or getting a code or something. And instead of being annoyed with it, I see it now as, oh, good, I'm changing a lot. It doesn't even recognize my energy anymore. So just a reminder that we're looking intuitively at the energies of the energies in astrology, the planets, where they are, where they're located. And then if you look at your chart, you're going to be able to start to see if there's anything in particular that's more impactful for you, and where that would be the house. But every energy, every planet, every degree, every house has a specific power. It has a specific quality. It has a specific way of working. And they each bring a challenge, and they each bring a gift. Two sides of the coin are on everything. It's a law of the universe. You cannot have anything without it. Now you know you can prepare and check yourself what's happening, be in the flow. Don't fight, don't struggle, don't resist. Anytime you feel yourself doing that in any way, that's your mind caught in a loop thinking something unproductive because it's a repetitive thought. Interrupt it as soon as possible. Make yourself sit down or breathe or walk in nature. Breathe up through your chakras, hold the breath, let the energies go out into every chakra exactly the way that it needs to. Just be the witness, let it do its work, and then let it go and let it just flow out of you, carrying away the toxins. So here's the highlights of what's going on. Pluto goes retrograde May 1st. That happened already. That's Beltane, wonderful new life energy happening, still in that. So that's a wonderful energy. Now we have the full moon and the energy is building, and that's always about abundance and harvest. And this particular experience we're in now is about new opportunities and openings, as big as the abscesses that are opening up in your life. The opportunities are opening up as well. So this is an opportunity to understand that there's that balance, and that you can dial yourself to where. So you can say, okay, I accept that I have an abscess in my tooth and that I need to take care of it because I'm in extreme pain. And even more important, once I get control of this, is to talk to it and to go deeper, find the spiritual cause, do all my supportive energy medicine and so on with it. But to remember very, very carefully that there's a reason for it on another higher level, in the mind and the emotions, in another life, in the soul, in a bigger pattern that's being released or completed, because Pluto is about endings and beginnings. Lunar Eclipse, May 5th, that's tomorrow as well. 14 degrees of Scorpio. 14 degrees is kind of right in the middle. So to me, the degree doesn't have a big effect. If you have a 14 degree in your natal chart, it means it'll have more of an effect on you. Take a look at how it matches up with Scorpio's sign and with Scorpio's element. Scorpio's water. And this means this lunar eclipse is the sun eclipsing the moon. So yourself on all those levels, cutting you off from your emotion, cutting you off in a way that lets deep emotional, spiritual secrets come up because you're not overwhelmed by them. You're not afraid of them. So really realize there's always a positive aspect to something. If someone's like, well, it's going to be a big change, you're going to be thrown out of your house, or something huge is going to happen in your life, you don't go afraid, you go aware. You go present, you activate your light body, you activate your protection power programs, you activate your cleanses, you keep making sure that you're putting up your light structure around your home, around your body, around your car. You're clearing and cleansing yourself after you interact with people, especially clients or people in close proximity, like a work situation. So know that the deep emotional spiritual secrets that Scorpio holds, because Scorpio is still water, it's deep water, it's dark water. It's those dark secrets in the sacral. It's that dark magic that you're afraid that you might misuse that power you have. So there's a part of you keeps blocking you from fully hearing your intuition or seeing visions, even though other things are opening up. It's the part that says, stay hidden, and it's safe to be there. Yet, you're done with the darkness. So this is emerging through the darkness. The darkest part of this, energy-wise, eclipse is when the eclipse happens, wherever that is for you. And the Scorpio part of it. Now we also have whacking us along is Uranus. Uranus is about sudden change, massive change, earthquakes, awakenings, destruction, the tower, innovations, new directions, incredible ahas, complete destructions of old beliefs or jobs or whatever, and a completely new way of seeing and feeling. This is a freedom that's going to look very scary. So there could be something that just doesn't feel certain. You feel unstable. That's why. So this is change at all costs. And you can't resist the change. You have to step outside your comfort zone. You've got to. And you're coming to a fork in the road because this eclipse is about that. And you're going to be given the opportunity because Pluto's about endings and beginnings. Pluto's about death and rebirth. So Pluto is right on that cusp saying, I'm pure potential. What do you need to end, destroy, and let go of? Well, you don't want to keep playing with the toys you had when you were 3 now. So those have ended. You've passed them on. You don't keep doing things that don't work for you, that don't challenge you, that don't stretch you, that don't support you, that don't love you, that don't align you with your higher self. So you've been going and going through this road that you can't see. And this is going to be an unexpected change, like suddenly coming out of this dark road through the forest into a clearing of unbelievable beauty. So you don't want to be attached emotionally to anything. And you especially don't want to be attached emotionally to your power vision, to your happy vision, to seeing this sudden change in your life, because an opposition is going to force you to take action. It's a faraway connection that is too far away to be in your face, like oppose you up in your face, but there's a sense of something far away. Could be in your past, could be a parent that died or a parent that's still alive, could be something that happened a long time ago that wants to come up. So is there a change that you need to make in how you feel about your divorce or your abuse or your failures in the past? Is there a change? Yes. If you're still worried about them or thinking about them or wounded by them, it's okay at whatever phase you are to grieve them. But it's also time to look at always moving forward, letting something go. Uranus is going to open a big ass door. A powerful lesson from your souls coming in. It's time to listen with all of your newly unearthed intuitive senses, because we've been being unearthed, haven't we? We've been, our world, our earth, our foundation is being rocked. And the next thing that's very important happening right now is the North Node and Pluto. Again, Pluto, god of the underworld, shadows, the inner, the death, the rebirth, the destruction of the old to feed, like composting in nature, okay? Or the going within of a tree, dropping their leaves, pulling all their energy into the center of their being and going to sleep, quote unquote, for a while, and then coming back, being reborn. And we're in the moment of rebirth. It's the spring, it's the month of May, it's the lusty month of May. And I used to go to May Day celebrations with my kids, and we wore crowns of flowers and danced around maypoles and had delightful time out in nature, enjoying that. Well, Pluto is saying you have a choice. And in this eclipse, you can't see where you're going, and you're going to be cut off from your emotional, intuitive guidance. And you're going to be overwhelmed by your ego self or calls from your spiritual purpose, from your blueprint, or from your infinite self. And you're going to be bombarded with sunlight. So we're having this interesting energy of a full moon, and yet it is going to be eclipsed by the sun, which means we're going to be blasted by the sun. And this means a combust is happening. Something's going to combust. Something's going to go up in flames. Something's going to burn to the ground. Something's going to burn to ashes. Something's going to give you the freedom to be reborn like a phoenix out of the ashes, because your north node is your destiny. It's your forward path of your destiny. The north and the south node are always at the same degree, so it also affects your south node, and that's where you've been, who you are, your past lives. But this Pluto is moving towards the north node, and your soul's path or destiny is heading towards a major destiny reboot point. Now, it's not happening for a little while, so you don't need to worry about it this moment, but the fact that you're moving through an eclipse point and you're moving towards a reboot and a strong change in your soul's plan and blueprint means this is an opportunity point where you can choose to let go of something or many things that you don't need and that will give you lighter and stronger and better potential when you move into this reboot to go further in the way that's optimal for your soul's growth. So who you were designed to be is rising to the surface, and it's the reason I'm doing the Who Am I Becoming series, because it keeps coming up. So who were you designed to be, and who have you played at being? Who have you lived your life for? Other people's opinions, other people's rules, other people's ideas of what you should want, what determines success, what, when you're a failure, burdened you with a lot of shame or whatever. So that's over. And yet it's so painful and it's so real and it's so present and it's so full in our lives that we feel like, oh, okay, sure, whatever. It's just, I'm slogging along through my reality. You've got to stand up and look around and say, even in this dark place, I am the light. I am the light. There is no darkness within me. Your life purpose and your destiny, which is your life, your north node, is going to square Pluto. Square is just what you think it is, a block in your way. No, it burned down. It's not here anymore. Sorry, you don't get your money back, right? This is going to force you a complete new direction. It's going to cause you to be confronted. It's going to cause conflict. It's like a complete destruction. And Pluto is death, rebirth, shadows, and North Node is destiny, direction, and soul blueprint. So you put those energies together and you can see how powerful this is. And this is coming up this summer, and yet it's only 4 degrees from this square. So it's being felt. And with Pluto in retrograde, that's another dark energy. So those are all playing. So as we slow into retrograde, we're in Mercury retrograde, and now we're Pluto retrograde, and we're slowing into reviewing, to renewing. And that phase is our orientation and perspective changes to the topics that Pluto brings up. What needs to be over, what needs to be completed, what needs to be unearthed, what needs to be unveiled, what needs to be completed, what can't be forgotten, what has to go back. Literally, one of my clients was buried by another energy of a masculine dominating energy, to where energetically it buried her and she went into a coma. And that was freed today because that energy is now more supported. She intentionally made sure that she was doing this session today or this week around the eclipse. And so that added to this perspective shift about that ending. And the new beginning is already right there, because that's where Pluto stands between those. It's the nexus point. It's the point where the eternal circle, the Ouroboros, is the snake that swallows its tail. it renews again and again and again. So as the guide of the underworld, endings, beginnings, you're going to reshape by reviewing these areas. So be thinking of all the words we talked about recently. Look at the other spiritual weather reports, subscribe here, and go look for the playlist for all the weather reports. You can go and look at the energies of retrograde and how to use them for powerful transformation to your benefit. And that's a show I did a week or so ago, and that's available for you anytime you want to go there. Okay, so all these shows are education. Some of them are relevant to the moment. Some of them are relevant to many moments that you become aware of. So that intensity is going to deep shifts, going to the roots, going to the dungeons, going to the pain, going to the past. But this is all about freedom. This is like going into the dungeons to free yourself. And the purpose of this path is that huge openings, okay? And they're going to amplify. They are amplifying with the full moon. And so signs, synchronicities are all around you. They're getting brighter and brighter. They're at peak brightness right now. So pay attention, because this bookend eclipse is the portal out, and it's through a full moon. So the full moon is full of light, and it has its own unique light, and you want to receive it. And that communication will help bring clarity to your communications, because Mercury's in retrograde as well, which means it's reviewing with you. Now you're going to reflect and emerge through the full moon after being bathed in the sun and completely cut off from deep emotions, so you can go in and reclaim the gems and the powers inside of those deep emotions and secrets. All right. So you're emerging into a new reality of your own. Your reality is going to be your own, not mine, not anyone else's. Our perception of realities may cross. We're never in the same reality. We are in intersecting realities right now. However, our perception and experience is completely unique and different than every single other being on or in the planet at any time. Okay. So here's some more details, retrograde dates, and more, it's transformation. It's a dive into the subconscious. This is some of the energies that we're looking at right now. It's going to generate a destiny shift. It says destined. So how you're going to be and show up in your daily life. So you want to look and walk and choose. Be conscious, present. Despite the dark of the eclipse and the retrograde energy, you're going to be saying, I'm in a place of possibility. I'm in a place of choice. I know freedom is here. I choose freedom, not fear. Inside the fear is my freedom. And the retrograde is going to reconnect you with your strong intuitive and subconscious powers, okay? So we've looked at all of these, and this is giving you a little more. With Pluto in Aquarius right now, that's mental air, higher mind, and the two sides of the coin of Aquarius is one side is complete individual spiritual freedom. You're free to be yourself, to be psychic, to be woo-woo, to be a fairy, to be a unicorn. You're free to do whatever you are, fully express yourself, embody yourself, and live the way you want. And the other end of the scale is complete desire to control others and make laws and clamp down. And you're going to see both sides of those, and the death and rebirth of a lot, but delightful renewal energy, because we're in spring and resurrection, okay? So we've cleaned out the old, breathing life into the new. Potentials are rising. It's been a little painful. Rebirths are, and birth of any kind is new. We're in the 0 point. And we have a guide through this underworld, right? So freedom is the purpose of the path. And we've already talked about all of that. And so your life purpose, your North Node, is squaring Pluto. So that means what's coming. You can use the energy by saying, okay, I want to look at what my life purpose and path is going to need me to do to prepare for this moment. And I'm open and receptive to my higher self or the fairies or my angels or whatever to communicate with me about that. And I'm ready to let die or let end anything that no longer serves me. And I'm ready to receive what I need, be nurtured in the shadows. So I'm ready to be reborn and be rebooted in a new direction. And that direction is more aligned and on the track with my soul's destiny, purpose, path, and powers. Woot! Yay! Okay, good. So we're going to go ahead now and jump on over to our meditation. And I will see you there. Namaste. I hope you use that energy to really navigate through this, because things are pretty woot. Freedom to be truly you. Yay. Things are coming up for me to change my relationship with your mom. Ah, yeah. Oh, she gave you a hug. Oh, happy birthday, happy birthday, happy birthday. Dramatic change within me and outside of me. At the moment, it's all been about endings of not so beneficial things and beginnings of very beneficial things. Exactly. And you're flowing with it and you're loving it. Hi, Kim. And yes, isn't that wonderful? Wonderful, wonderful. So we have to let go of the fatalistic conditioned mind that says, hang on to everything, all change is bad, and all of that. We can struggle less through the transformation when we go into the flow and say, oh, okay, that's interesting. I wonder why that's ending. Or I'm ready to let it go and just be in the flow to see what's next. Stay present. Okay, namaste.